everyone, and welcome to the Morning Edition. I'm LaDawn Davis.
And I'm back in the chair, sitting in for Charles Fisher, who's going to be taking a much-needed vacation.
Until February of next year.
That's a long time.
That's a very long time.
What do you think he's going to do around that time?
I'm sure he'll find a lot of things to do around the house. Some projects.
Some nice projects.
To get involved in,
Right. Well, you're looking beautiful, ready for Christmas.
You look dapper. I know that you're probably going to wear your red and your green and the yellows.
Yeah.
Soon.
Feeling that,
feeling the spirit.
Feeling that Christmas edge. So that's what it's all about. So we've got a great show today. A lot of things happening in Parliament. And we've got, well, the issue of AIDS still center.
You know, yesterday was World AIDS Day.
World AIDS Day.
And I think they're trying to get the annual AIDS ball. I don't know if you went to the AIDS ball in the past.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And everything is being done virtually now, including Junkanoo. So I'm expecting to see what's happening for virtual Junkanoo, and so some great stuff. I'm excited to see how this virtual platform is going to turn out, because I understand, based on what the JCMP chairman said yesterday, that Bahamians are not allowed to come to the actual practices, because he didn't want to say where the practices would take place for them to record for this premiere film. But I can't wait to see what the Junkanoo I don't know how things are going to look, because Junkanoo is something that you want to experience in person. You know what I'm saying? So the virtual Junkanoo, I don't know. We'll see how it works out, but it's very necessary because we're under COVID-19 restrictions, and so we're going to see how that
You could imagine 2 years without going to Bay?
Junkanoo,
wow, this is...
Because when you think of Christmas, you think ham, turkey, Junkanoo, carnival.
And don't forget church. Don't forget church before Junkanoo. Yes, definitely.
Church is very important. But it's a great day to be alive. It's a great moment at this time. Christmas is here. Celebrations are in there. So what more, right?
We have Janae's.
And we've got Janae. Yeah, they're giving us some nice, beautiful ornaments. So if you're out there watching our Morning Edition show, we've got a trivia right here. The trivia in the song Frosty the Snowman. What made Frosty come to life? Now, I wasn't a big Frosty the Snowman person growing up, but you have any ideas? I'm
going to say either the hat or the broom. I don't know.
Hat or the broom?
Yeah. I think someone gave him the hat and the broom. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know.
If you're lucky, and if you get the answer, just call us and you'll be lucky to get this. This is some beautiful ornaments, right? Yes. The number 502-3855, the song Frosty the Snowman. What made Frosty come to life? If you're lucky and you've got the answer, call us and you'll get this beautiful display of ornaments here by Janae's. What we're going to do now is head to the streets. That's right. See what's happening traffic-wise. Patrick Kemp at the helm. Good morning.
Good morning, Desmond. Good morning, LaDawn. Presently we're in the area of Village Road, where you can see traffic has already built up already for this morning in this area, but not just this area, throughout the island of New Providence. I want to continue to encourage the drivers so that they please drive with due care and attention. Utilize those seat belts, minimize any distractions in your vehicles that can potentially cause an accident. And make sure those children are properly fastened in those vehicles. I want to also say to the passengers in the vehicles, you have a responsibility, an obligation, so while you're in the vehicle, if the driver is not being responsible in the way he is maneuvering through the streets, to please let that driver know, hey, you need to slow it down, you need to take your time, not to run that red light, because the life that you save can be yours. Also, as a passenger in the vehicle, I gotta let you know that you too can receive a citation for not wearing your seatbelt. In fact, you not wearing your seatbelt is a bit more costly than the person who actually owns the vehicle. So you don't have to be the owner of the vehicle or the driver to receive a ticket as well for those passengers out there. I want to encourage the drivers out there to please be vigilant. Make sure any valuables in your vehicles are properly secured to avoid any would-be criminals to break in your vehicle in an attempt to get your valuables. And continue to have a safe and good day out there on the streets. Back to you in studio, LaDawn and Desmond.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Superstar Corporal Patrick Kemp, providing us with the weather forecast. Staying on the outside, weak traffic across extreme northwest and southeast Bahamas will support pockets of showers across those areas while high pressure dominates elsewhere today. Beachgoers should be alert for the risk of rip currents at north and east coast beaches. All areas verbally cloudy. Chance of a few showers mainly across the northwest and southeast. Mostly fair and cool tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas. In or near heavy showers. Winds west, southwest to west. Northwest at 10 to 15 knots this morning, becoming more northerly this afternoon through tonight in the northwest Bahamas and northeast, east, southeast, 10 to 15 knots in the central and southeast Bahamas over open water. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but slightly higher in northeast to easterly swells over the ocean. Daytime high 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 28 degrees Celsius, and the overnight low temperature 63 degrees Fahrenheit, 17 degrees Celsius. Now, there are your current conditions for Nassau and your extended weather forecast, looking pretty good with partly sunny and pleasant conditions.
The new Omicron COVID-19 variant moving closer to Bahamian shores, with the first case in the U.S. discovered in San Francisco, California, in a patient who recently traveled to South Africa. Since Tuesday, the virus has expanded its reach to at least 24 countries, including Canada, Sweden, and Japan. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, however, says officials are not yet convinced it has made its way to the Bahamas just yet.
We are not convinced that the variant is in the country, but with that being said, the National Reference Lab will be put on alert. We will do all in our power to ensure that Bahamians are protected, and we do samples abroad to be tested to see whether or not the variant is actually in the country. But we do not think so at this particular time.
Meantime, 6 deaths initially listed as under investigation have been reclassified as COVID-19 related, pushing the national count of COVID cases to 677. The victims, all New Providence residents, died between August 26th and the 12th of September. The eldest victim, an 85-year-old woman, the youngest, a 48-year-old. As of November 30th, there were 11 new cases, 9 of them right here in New Providence, the remaining 2 over in Grand Bahama. That puts the Bahamas' confirmed COVID case count at 22,802. This while hospitalizations are at 23, 20 of the sick moderately ill. 5 people recovered from the virus on Tuesday, and 346 RT-PCR tests were completed. Now to the supplementary budget debate in Parliament, where the former administration's poor planning is said to be behind the Ministry of National Security's increased budget. The man at the helm, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, disclosing that they've been given an added $2.1 million.
This increase of $2.1 million is made up basically of 2 items. The first relates to COVID enforcement, and the second relates to expenses related to electronic monitoring of persons on bail and audit monitored by the courts. We entered lockdown, Madam Speaker, if my memory doesn't fail me, March of 2020. This budget that the supplemental budget addresses was passed in this place in 2021, more than a year after we entered lockdown.
Another priority of the Davis administration is upgraded equipment for the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas to ensure it effectively disseminates the national newscast. Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Miles LaRota, announcing in Parliament on Monday that despite the BCB spending cuts, acquiring a new news server is crucial to its operation.
The estimated cost for a replacement is around $500,000. The news is the primary feature of ZNS, and obsolete equipment is not going to be in the best interest of the corporation. Hence, Madam Speaker, we will have to find a way as a government to equip ZNS with all of the tools needed to go head-to-head with those other news providers. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again. No matter how good the equipment, no matter how nice the presenters, Madam Speaker, at 7 o'clock in the evenings, we know who the majority of Bahamians tune into to get the news.
meantime, the Prime Minister squeezing in some downtime while abroad. He accepted a special invitation to view the work of Bahamian artist Tavares Strawn, whose work is being exhibited at this year's Art Basel, Miami Beach. Nassau-born Strawn, who's based in New York and London, hosted the PM to a special tour featuring his work Red, Gold, and Green. While in Miami, the Prime Minister is meeting international art investors in hopes of creating opportunities for the Bahamas. In turn, he promised to increase the government's investment in the arts to revitalize music, theater, dance, and visual arts. And the members of 2 government boards announced yesterday the new heads of the Water and Sewage Corporation and Public Beaches and Parks Authority say they're ready to get to work. Here's board chairman of the Water and Sewage Corporation, Sylvanus Petty.
There wouldn't be any mass disconnections, but we do, like I said before, we do encourage people to pay their water bills. We have a lot of people that'll be in Walmart next week shopping for Christmas who could afford to pay their water bills. But we're putting something in place to encourage Bahamians to pay their water bills. We're going to have some commercials come out probably in the next week or 2.
You want to travel this holiday season? Don't want to miss out on those blockbuster deals? Well, have you gotten your COVID-19 vaccine yet? Time is running out to travel for the holidays, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine may be just what you need. It's one and done. Just one jab of this vaccine, and 2 weeks later, you're fully vaccinated and ready to shop. Protect yourself and your loved ones this holiday season. Schedule your vaccine appointment now.
$1 million investment set for Abaco's Treasure Key Airport as the government moves to fast-track development on the island, making way for enhanced economic activity. Here's Lloyd Allen.
It's been nearly 2 years since the passing of Hurricane Dorian, and officials on the island of Abaco committing to enhancing the tourism product across the board. That transformation, according to Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Chester Cooper, starts with the urgent reconstruction of the Treasure Key Airport.
I'm aware that we are in the process of investing just under $2 million in the airport itself. This is some funding provided through an IDB facility. We hope to be able to advance the development of this airport in some meaningful way.
Following a recent tour of the facility, DPM Cooper says restoration is a priority for the government.
It was quite distressing to see customs and immigration crammed into a small trailer. I was heartened to hear that the level of traffic at the facility is quite significant. Occasionally we get up to 10 flights a day. So there is some activity going on there, and it's important that that restoration happen.
As the airport is a lifeline for Northern Abaco's mainland and the Keys, a fixed-based operator remains in the pipeline. But according to Executive Chairman of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Alex Storr, Abaco as a whole remains a work in progress to restore not just the Treasure Key Airport, but the Leonard Thompson International Airport, among other areas.
We have funds not only from the government, but from significant donors from throughout the United States and throughout the world that wish to help the Bahamas with the rebuilding process. DRA serves as the project manager on the works that are going on at the airport. And so I know I was here a couple of months ago in a different capacity. Being here now, I can see the difference.
Specific to the Treasure Key Airport, Storr added that the new building will be completely solarized.
We are right now in the process of making a deposit to BPL for electrical installation on there. As you can see, they are building a new unit there. What we are going to do is we have a donor that's going to provide solar lighting. And so it was thought that even with just straight power from BPL, the monthly cost would be too much.
While no timeline has been provided for the upgrades, DPM Cooper is convinced that the heyday of the Northern Island will return.
Abaco is on the move. I'm pleased with the economic rebound and the activity we're seeing. We now need to support that with housing and the restoration of the basic infrastructure.
And once those upgrades are made, the minister promising to make Abaco a viable tourism destination in the Bahamas.
Well, some good stuff there. Remember that call for Bahamians to take up farming in the face of the country's Food security challenge? Well, the agriculture minister met with owners of an upstart hydroponic facility, bringing life to that appeal. Amajal Knowles reports.
There is no doubt the COVID-19 pandemic is heightening the need for food security, and the Davis administration has prioritized food sustainability high on their agenda. Minister for Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs, General Clay Sweeting, toured Eden Farms at the Airport Industrial Park this week. It's a Bahamian tech-enabled hydroponic containerized farming company that's aiming to change the perception of what sustainable farming offers. The company cultivates fresh organic produce year-round.
Talk about our blueprint for change and how we want to transform agriculture to something that's appealing, something that's innovative, something that's modern, and something that is tailored also to young persons and women, where they can be inclusive in this sector. The containerized farm does just that. They have some young ladies that's actually farming there. So this is a model I think that we could replicate throughout the country and bring young persons into a sector where they're not just interested in farming for backyard purposes, but also commercializing the industry.
Established in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic this past February, Eden Farms has seen tremendous growth in its unique operation.
And we're extremely humbled by the growth that we've seen over the past couple of months, over the past year in particular. We have an amazing team here at Eden Farms. The team members, again, the farm is led by women, interested in agriculture, young people in agriculture, and then the entire team. I know you heard from Carlos and the Braun team. All of these persons help to make this business, this company a success. And
we've been able to get more heavily into the specialty herbs, the things that often couldn't grow in the Bahamas because of the weather, because of the climate, and those types of opportunities. So restaurants have come on board. We've also seen with the major supply chain challenges that we're seeing across the world, more confidence from some of the larger resorts who are now purchasing from us.
The company stakeholders added that major expansion is on the way, including a multi-million-dollar facility here in the capital, as well as branching out to the Family Islands.
So a big challenge that we have is how do you get fresh produce to our islands? Like, my dad is from Inagua, my grandmother's from Acklands. If it goes on a mailboat, sometimes it's spoiled by the time it arrived. So how do we do that? And that was a big part of getting into the modular aspect. And so from the original vision that Lincoln and Gil would have had for the company, it was to bring food security to the islands who can't achieve it. So that remains an integral part of what we plan to do. For Nassau, we're looking at a large-scale facility here, a facility that will produce order of magnitudes that will allow us to really be able to penetrate the market. And that means now we can bring healthier, fresher produce to Bahamians as well as visitors at a very reasonable price.
The break, we take a look back at today in Bahamian history. On December 2nd, 1939, the largest shipment of tomatoes in 5 years left Nassau for Canada, totaling 16,207 pounds. The tomatoes came from Eleuthera, New Providence, and Cat Island. Also on December 2nd, 1954, Brent Simonet was born. He went on to become a successful businessman and politician, ascending to the post of cabinet minister and deputy prime minister.
It's a different kind of Christmas, but everything is here to bring a smile upon your face. That's what the season brings now. See, Christmas time is the time for your family and friends. Come and shop with us and find everything that you need. Deck out your homes with all we have in store, bringing joy and so much more. And shop Smarty, and shop Smart, and shop Smart. Oh, everything is here and shop Smart, and shop Smart, and shop Smart. Oh, everything is here.
Yesterday was World AIDS Day, and I kind of missed the Dunkin' Donuts this morning on the desk.
Yeah, and it's so glad. I'm glad that Dunkin' Donuts played a part in this whole initiative. AIDS is a global issue of enormous implications, and so glad that Dunkin' Donuts came in, and we had a good time with those donuts. I had a few donuts, adding to my little weight gain, but nevertheless, it was pretty good. But AIDS, it's a big issue, and I'm glad that the Bahamas is doing its part in the whole world AIDS fight.
Especially with mother to infant transmission, we haven't had any cases there, so that's a plus for us. We seem to be making some inroads in the fight against HIV and AIDS in the Bahamas.
And we just had a church service just yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. All right. The strides the Bahamas has made, as well as the lives lost to HIV and AIDS, highlighted in a service at the Cousin McPhee AME Cathedral on Carmichael Road on Monday. Under the theme "End Inequalities and AIDS and the Pandemic," Health and Wellness Minister, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, indicated that antiviral drugs have transformed the illness from being a death sentence to a manageable disease.
The statistics are definitely positive, that we're seeing a decreased number of cases in the country. And one of the greatest unknown secrets is the fact that HIV drugs is being provided free. And because of that, we're seeing that the viral loads in patients who suffer with HIV is very low. And that is of great concern because they remain healthy. And what we experienced in the early 90s from the pandemic is completely different to what we see today.
Director of the National HIV and AIDS Prevention Program, Dr. Nakia Forbes, noted the continual decline in new cases compared to more than 800 in 1993.
At the end of 2019, there were about 133 new cases, but we need that to be even lower. There's also been a 53% decline in AIDS deaths, and we're seeing promising signs that treatment is increasing. So everybody who is living with HIV should indeed be on treatment. We've seen a 33% increase in treatment from the year 2013, but we have a long way to go. We aim to get as many persons on treatment as possible. We have an aim by the year 2025 to have 95% of people living with HIV knowing that they're indeed HIV positive. Certainly if you have HIV, you may not feel sick, and so we encourage everyone to know their status.
Well, LaDon, it's no secret that HIV/AIDS has impacted hundreds of families across the Bahamas. One of them sat down with our Crystal Darling and shared their experience.
She was a beautiful spirit. She was very vibrant, effervescent. You know, she was always the life of the party. Everybody wanted her at events, and she was very social.
21 years old, that point in life when you're no longer a child, but not yet an adult. But it's that tender age that Army Strawn's sister, who'll remain nameless, was diagnosed with HIV, and a time when the illness was stigmatized.
A complement of friends, you know, they started just disappearing, I suppose. So all those people, I guess, that she trusted, that was her ride or die, people that would be there for her, they just diminished more and more. And then after a while, there were no friends. They depleted to nothing. And it was just really only a family.
And Strawn's sister's physical health also waned.
You could just tell just by looking at her that she was sick some way. She was terminally ill. You could just see the decay in her body just by looking at her. But you talked to her for more than 10, 15 minutes, you would forget how sick she was, because she was really a fun and happy person, a fun-loving person, and a beautiful spirit.
As few family members visited, Strawn says her sister's condition worsened, and when it did, even certain relatives discriminated.
Wouldn't allow her to drink out of utensils in the house, you know, would buy disposable utensils for her to use because didn't want her to use the bathroom, the toilet in the house, you know, didn't want her to touch anything. And I think it was okay for the friends to go missing and for society to treat her with stigma and ostracize her, but it wasn't okay for that close member of our family to treat her that way. I mean, that's the last thing she expected. So when I saw her brokenness, it came from that place.
20 plus years into the fight, Strawn's sister died.
But sometimes she would get really, really sick and she'd be hospitalized and she'd go in the hospital. And initially, you know, we would all pray and cry and we'd think that she was dying, and then she just bounced back and, you know, she'd be back and it was like nothing had happened. And I think I realized that she was dying perhaps a day or two before she actually left, because I just always trusted that she was going to be okay and that we would find a cure for the disease before she died. But that never happened.
What I love most about working for the Bahamas tonight is that we don't only focus on New Providence. We cover the entire Bahamas. We have a team here in the northern Bahamas that is ready to bring you the stories, the people, and the news that matter to you. From point A to Z, from covering hurricanes to elections and everything in between.
Violence against women only leads to one place for many men, and that's Fox Hill Prison. But prison doesn't only affect you. It affects your partners, it affects your children. There are no winners when the police come to take you away, only pain. But don't let your relationship get to that point. Have this conversation. Go and talk to your pastor or a counselor. Know the signs and get help before it's too late. Say no to violence against women.
It is important that you follow these 4 R's when taking your medications. Right drug. Remember that each medication is specific for each individual, and what may work for one person may not work for the other. Right dose. Taking more or less than what is prescribed by your provider may cause you to either run out of your pills faster, it may affect your kidneys or liver, and it may even worsen.
Well, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, LaDawn, Christmas is just about here, and there's going to be a lot of food, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying, but...
and we can't forget the sweets.
And we can't forget the sweets.
The sweets, yeah.
Well, I had an opportunity to speak to a nutritionist who sheds light on the importance of discipline this time around.
Yeah, you're going to need that. You're going to definitely need that. Well, we're all going to need that discipline.
We're all going to need some discipline, right?
Yes.
And here's his part. Here's his story.
The holiday season brings with it lots of love, gifts, cheer, and also a smorgasbord of food, which can feel impossible to ignore. Corporate and Wellness Manager at Atlantic Medical and Life Company, Donovan Ingram, advises to lighten up and enjoy, but not to overindulge.
It's very important, the 80-20 rule, eating more healthier things 80% of the times and then indulging 20% of the times in the things you know are not healthy. Fruits and vegetables stand to be the most important food groups to consume throughout the holiday. So what I would suggest, if you know you're going to pick out on the ham and turkey or the stuffing, the peas and rice, the macaroni, that sounds like a lot already, start with the healthier things. Start with the salads, start with maybe a fruit, drink a glass of water, and if alcohol is going to be your choice or beverage that you can consume, try piggybacking by having water within the meal. You know,
the overeating and overdrinking that typically takes place between the middle of November and the new year leads to weight gain. Ingram says the key is to stay active. Not doing enough to shed those pounds leads to bigger health issues.
Right now, we're finding a lot more people are trying to get moving and active. People are concerned about their diet because they find that their waistlines have become even more distended. We want to encourage persons to manage their weight, because if you manage your weight, you then in turn manage your health outcomes. So you manage your chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, or heart disease, and even the possibilities of stomach cancer, kidney failure, pancreatic cancers, and even the hormonal imbalance that most of us are impacted by when it comes to obesity.
Ingram also advises to limit your alcohol consumption, stick to a workable diet plan, and remember to get your Z's.
You know, a lot of people we're not getting enough sleep. 8 hours, 9 hours is the requirement for proper sleeping. You know, not getting 5 or 6 hours. Mental health is the driving force when it comes to wellness. You know, if you're not in a good mental state, if you're not set up right from the start of the day throughout the day, you're not going to be as committed to your wellness journey. You know.
Some good advice, some very good advice. Hopefully I can take advantage of that advice. Not to overindulge, you know, I like my ham, I like my turkey. but I'll work it. I'll do something.
And speaking of ham and turkey, we want, the morning edition crew, we're always hungry because, we're always here. We're here early in the morning. So we want to encourage chefs and those that cook. If you want to come on down.
So we're sending that appeal out to all those great chefs. Now, you have to be good. You can't be last grade, second grade. You got to be first top-notch,
top tier,
right? Top-notch chefs.
Yes. And we have a winner for
We have a winner. Kendra Sands, our trivia. What you said the answer was?
I said a broom and a hat. Someone gave
it's
a
actually
broom and a hat.
old silk hat. In the song Frosty the Snowman, what made Frosty come to life? The answer, an old silk hat. Kendra Sands, you are a winner of this beautiful ornament piece right here. Janae's been providing us with some great pieces, and shouts up to Janae's.
All right.
It's been a great show.
It's been a great show.
Yes.
Can't wait for tomorrow. Entertainment tomorrow. We got to have some fun tomorrow.
Right. It's going to be Friday. Celebration.
Have a great morning, everybody.
Take care.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.